Indianapolis has been missing since Andrew Luck and since all that stuff went down. So I understand why Garrett put this as his 3 for darlings and duds, because the Colts really have been impressive. I mean, regardless of losing Jonathan Taylor and having a bunch of injuries on defense, the Colts still have shown that they're going to be a team that's going to hang in there with just about everyone. And I think that speaks to not only the coaching staff, but also the rookie quarterback that they have. It also speaks to the receiving core. I know Michael Pittman's looking to get paid. I know that, Jonathan Taylor might be back in the building at some point or not. And if that happens, I think they get a lot better. But the offensive line looks good. Anthony Richardson, he needs to learn to stop taking so many hits. But all in all, I think the Colts are a good first darling for Garrett. I think moving forward, I want to see more out of that receiving core. I want to see more out of Alec Pierce. I want to see more out of guys like Jelani Woods. Even Kylan Granson, who did a photo shoot with his first touchdown catch ball. Yes, I'm not making that up. He did a photo shoot with the ball. Put it on Instagram and everything. You can go look at it. But honestly, really interesting stuff to watch the Colts. And moving on to Garrett's second darling, like I said, we both chose the Cowboys. The Cowboys I already touched on, so I won't do too much of that. But like I said, best defense in the league, really the best offense in the league as well so far. And then number 3 being the Commanders. So this is where I don't necessarily agree with Garrett's pick, because I don't see what he saw. I saw a team in the Commanders last week that looked just shaky. I mean, they looked like they couldn't keep up with the Broncos, and we all know, I'm in Denver, and I hear it all the time, the Broncos just aren't very good right now. Regardless of who they have on the roster, regardless of who they have coaching the team, they're just not very good, and it's really a lot of Russ problems. I hate to put all the blame on one player, but Russ continues to hold the ball for too long in the pocket, doesn't hit his open guys. He loves to do it where he'll turn his eyes downfield for about 1 or 2 seconds every play, and then he looks down and starts looking to run, and he can't run like he used to in Seattle anymore. So it's causing a lot of frustration on not only the fans' end, but also the coaching staff's end. And I don't know how much longer we're going to see Russ in a Broncos uniform, or really as a starter around the league. We'll just have to see. I think, he's above average, but he's not great either. And also that receiving core needs to get healthy. Tim Patrick, tearing his ACL before the season even started didn't help. Greg Dulcich, the young tight end, has looked really, really good. Cortland Sutton hasn't looked how I thought he should look. I thought he was going to be a sleeper on everyone's fantasy team this year, but just hasn't lived up to expectation. That cut KJ Hamler, it's a mess, seemingly, in the Broncos organization, out of, really with everything other than the defense. The defense continues to put on and show up every week, and you have all these stars on that defense, so it makes sense. They keep every single game close, but the defense can only do so much. The offense has to start scoring points. The Broncos were up, I think it was 24-10 at halftime, and blew a lead, took it into overtime, blew the lead, and lost the game. So to me, it's just a weird one. They had a bad week, for sure. Guys like Marvin Mims are showing up for the Broncos and everything, but the Commanders, on their side of the things, I thought they should be a lot better. They have Terry McLaurin, they have Curtis Samuel, they have Jahan Dotson. They have a really good receiving core on that team that is proven. These are all proven guys. It's not like I'm just projecting these guys to do well. No, these guys are all proven. They've all done it in the league for a while now. Sam Howell, yes, he's young, but we're hearing how great he's supposed to be. He's played well, just well enough to be 2-0, but barely. We haven't seen anything spectacular from him. That defense is supposed to be one of the best in the league, especially with the defensive line. I haven't seen Chase Young show up at all. Jonathan Allen continues to be a dominant force. But the reason why I don't agree with Garrett on this darling pick is the Commanders are supposed to be better. And to me, a darling is a team that was supposed to be really down in the dumps and kind of isn't. And this Commanders team was supposed to be better, and they're just kind of mid. They've gotten lucky. They've done just enough, but they're not as great or where I saw them being this season, especially with Eric Bieniemy now controlling that offense. I think it should be a lot more high-powered, a lot more fast-moving, a lot more talented than it's looked. So now, the darling is the fun part. Now the duds, no one loves to talk about the duds. I don't like to hate on teams. It's not my thing. It's not what I like to do, but we got to do it for the darlings and duds section. So here we go. My first dud of the season and my first dud pick is the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears have looked awful. And when I say awful, it is not an exaggeration. They have looked like the worst team in football. It has been atrocious. And if you heard all of the talk coming into the season on the Chicago Bears, it was all this talk about how Justin Fields is going to take the next step. They got DJ Moore. They did this. They did that. They're a stronger team. Blah, blah, blah. Where is the strength? Where is this new Bears team that we're supposed to be seeing? Because I don't see it. They've looked like the worst team in football. They run routes. They'll have the same two routes ending up in the same place. They can't block. They keep trying to do these terrible screen passes that no one thinks is going to work. I mean, we heard Levante David, I think it was, say we knew what they were running in that last play of the game where Justin Fields threw the pick six to Shaq Barrett. Levante David said, yeah, we knew they were going to run, so we lined up and ran it before they could. And when you have a team that's supposed to be doing a lot better and a quarterback that's supposed to be taking the next step, and you have defenders saying that about your team, about your coaching, it's a huge problem. It's a very, very huge problem. And not only that, we've also seen Justin Fields go out this week and say, when asked what the problem was, he said, it might be the coaching. And if you're young, third year quarterback is saying, it must be the coaching, that's a huge issue as well. When DJ Moore is clapping himself open, saying, hey, I'm open, and it's an NFL game, you have issues. It's more than just the coaching. It's more than just Justin Fields. It's the whole entire Bears team because their defense doesn't look great either. It doesn't look as bad as the offense. The offense is the worst offense I've ever seen. But they don't look good either way. They don't look good in any way, shape, or form. It's been very, very disappointing to watch because I really did expect the Bears to be more, but they just haven't been. My next pick for duds, my second dud of the season so far, is the Bengals. The Bengals have Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. You should not be 0-2. I do not care. You should not be 0-2 with that trio. On top of Joe Mixon and a great defense. I don't see why they're 0-2. I don't see, really what has happened. But Joe Burrow only throwing for, 86 yards in his first game? I mean, given he missed a lot of training camp, but, dude, you just got a $250 million max extension. You can't be throwing for 86 yards. It's not acceptable. And I know he's been dealing with some injury stuff and calf, strains and all that stuff, but it's still unacceptable. Given the Ravens game was a good game, any team can have a game like that, especially we just talked about the Ravens. They are one of our darlings. But the Bengals simply should not be 0-2, and they need to turn it around right now. The season is not dead for them because we know how talented they are. We know how good they are at taking that underdog approach. But they need to do it, and they need to do it soon, or else they're going to continue to be a dud every week. So, our third dud, and this is me and Garrett, is the Chargers. What are the Chargers doing, man? That's my singular question. I keep pausing because I really need to let this stuff sink in. Like, these are teams everyone thinks should be 2-0. Not the Bears, not the Bears. I'm not saying the Bears should be 2-0 right now at all. I don't think even we expected that or anything like that. But the Chargers and the Bengals should be 2-0, in my opinion. You know, Miami's a tough opponent. They've been playing absolutely insane. They might be a darling here soon, but, I mean, the Chargers, if you don't win that game, you should have won your second game of the season, and you just didn't. They look bad on offense. They look like they just don't have it all put together. And then their defense continues to be shoddy. Their secondary has not been good. Straight up, you got J.C. Jackson, a while ago. You have Derwin James. You have Joey Bosa. You have Khalil Mack. You have Sebastian Joseph Day, who's a very underrated player. You should not be 0-2. This team is way better than 0-2, and they know that. And kind of like what I said for the Bengals, I really think that they need to turn it around soon, or this season is over before it even began. And it's very sad to say that, but, I like Justin Herbert. I like Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen's not the same receiver he used to be. They got Quentin Johnson in the building, though. I like Quentin Johnson a lot. But I like Mike Williams a lot, but they need to turn around and show. Also, they gave Austin Eckler a bag for a season. Like, they need to start showing and turning things around to where it's no more LA stuff. It's no, oh, woe is me, woe is me. No, put up or shut up time or your head coach will be fired. Guaranteed. Which I think Brandon Staley does need to be fired, as I said earlier, because he hasn't led this Chargers team in a good direction really since he's been there. Somehow he's hung on, but it's put up or shut up time for the Chargers, and that's my. And that's all I have for y'all today. I know I didn't get to finish this in studio because we were on the show. Garrett wasn't able to be in studio right then and there, but he will be back next week. Hopefully, barring anything crazy. But we appreciate Denver Open Media for everything. We love anybody who listens to this show. We appreciate all the love and support, and we'll be back next week, man.